Nothing hits quite like that first sip in the morning. Hey there, good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you are watching this. I hope that you're able to spread a little bit of positivity and good throughout your day. Welcome to Tao of Tay, I'm Tay. And this is my channel where I'm going to be sharing daily meditations, personal stories, not only to add a little bit of peace and harmony into my life, but maybe there's something that resonates with you and something that you can take away to ponder throughout the rest of the day. And reading again from the Daily Stoic, we are on January 4th, the Big Three. So the quote from Marcus Aurelius from Meditations 9.6, all you need are these: certainty of judgment in the present moment, action for the common good in the present moment, and an attitude of gratitude in the present moment for anything that comes your way. Perception, action, will. Those are the three overlapping but critical disciplines of Stoicism. There's more to the philosophy, certainly, and we could spend all day talking about the unique beliefs of various Stoics. This is what Heraclitus thought. Zeno is from Cittum, a city in Cyprus, and he believed. But would such facts really help you today? What clarity does trivia provide? Instead of the following little reminder sums up the three most essential parts of Stoic philosophy, worth carrying with you every day into every decision. 1. Control your perceptions. 2. Direct your actions properly. 3. Willingly accept what's outside your control. That's all we need to do. Control your perceptions, direct your actions properly, willingly accept what's outside your control. Well, the third one we have talked about. Willingly accept what's out of your control. The choice versus control. Let go of the things that you cannot control so that way you can free up the things that you can control, which are the choices. Direct your actions properly. I feel like that's just very blatant. Direct your actions properly. Control your perceptions. That one I was a little like, when I read this, I'm thinking, okay, well, I kind of need a little bit more information on that. So I went on my handy dandy little smartphone and I Googled it. And I actually found from medium.com, from the same author, Ryan Holiday, we have Achieving Apatheia, which I'm guessing is apathy. 7 steps to controlling your perceptions like a Stoic. The obstacles we face in life makes us emotional. The only way we'll overcome them is by keeping these emotions in check. If we can keep steady no matter what happens, no matter how much external events may fluctuate. The ancient Stoics had a word for this state, apatheia. It's kind of calm equanimity. I have such a hard time I can say the word, but if I see it, then my brain flips up. Dyslexia. It's not fun. So it's a kind of calm equanimity that comes with the absence of irrational or extreme emotions. And let me tell you, I've been feeling those very deeply lately. What follows are the 7 steps you can take to achieve this state, so you can focus on overcoming your obstacles rather than reacting to them. So step 1, steady your nerves. I can already feel my nerves being So, steady your nerves. And here's a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. What such a man needs is not courage, but nerve control, cool-headedness. This he can only get by practice. And during the Civil War, troops were unloading a steamer when it exploded. Everyone hit the dirt except Ulysses S. Grant, who instead ran towards the scene. That is nerve. Like Grant, we must prepare ourselves for the realities of our situation, steadying our nerves so that way we can throw our best at it. And that's so true. When I feel my nerves are firing up and I start to get very, very anxious, I can't think right. And then my perception is completely flipped upside down. And it is so true. When you're calm, cool, and collected, you have such a level-headedness about you, and you can take the direct action, the best direct action for what you need to do next. Because when you're nervous, you really can't. Step 2, control your emotions. Would you have a great empire rule over yourself? And that's a quote from Publius Syrus. When America first sent astronauts into space, they trained them in one skill more than any other, the art of not panicking. Here on Earth, when something goes wrong, we trade in our plan for a good old emotional freak out. Real strength lies in the domestication of one's emotions, not pretending they don't exist. So not trying to repress or push down our emotions, letting them come to the surface, seeing them, being aware of them, accepting them, and then being able to domesticate those emotions. Again, coming back to that calm, cool, collective part of yourself, that level-headedness. Step 3, practice objectivity. And, we got our boy Epictetus again. Don't let the force of an impression when it first hit you knock you off your feet. Just say to it, hold on a moment. Let me see who you are and what you represent. Let me put you to the test. In our lives, how many problems seem to come from applying judgments to things we don't control? Perceptions give us information at the exact moment when it would be better to focus on what is immediately in front of us. We must question our animalistic impulse to immediately perceive what happens. But this takes strength and is a muscle that must be developed. And your brain, I know it's technically like not a muscle, it's different, but it works as a muscle. And the more that we do this work, this stoic work, this evolution on ourselves and our emotions and our perceptions and all of that, we begin to strengthen that muscle. It's almost like doing biceps for your brain. And the more that we practice, the more that we become better at it. Step 4, practice contemptuous expressions. The Stoics use contempt to lay things bare and strip away the legend that encrusts them. Roasted meat is a dead animal. Vintage wine is old fermented grapes. We can do this for anything that stands in our way, seeing things as they truly actually are, not as we've made them in our own minds. And that comes back to that, perception. Step 5, alter your perspective. And a quote from Viktor Frankl, man does not simply exist, but always decides what his existence will be, what he will become in the next moment. By the same token, every human being has that freedom to change at any instant. Remember, we choose how we'll look at things. What we must do is limit and expand our perspective to whatever will keep us calmest and most ready for the task at hand. Think of it as selective editing, not to deceive others, but to properly orient ourselves. Step 6, live in the present moment. And this is a very difficult thing to do. Most of the time we're either so focused on the past and living in that depressive state, or we're so anxious because we're worried about the future, and we're never really focusing on oh wait, I'm right here though. I'm not back there. I'm not up there. I'm right here. So what is something that I can choose to control in this moment of my life? Or not control, but what's a choice that I can make in this moment to make this moment better for myself? So live in the present moment. And a quote from Chuck Palahniuk. The trick to forgetting the big picture is to look at everything close up. It doesn't matter whether this is the worst time to be alive or the best, whether you're in a good job market or a bad one. What matters right now is right now. Focus on the moment, on what you can control right now, not what may or may not be ahead. Step 7, look for the opportunity. Quote by Seneca, a good person dyes events with his own color and turns whatever happens to his own benefit. The reality is every situation, no matter how negative, provides us with a positive, exposed benefit we can act on if only we look for it. Maybe you were injured recently, or are laid up in bed recovering. Now you have the time to start the book or the screenplay you've been meaning to write. That business decision that turned out to be a mistake, see it as a hypothesis of what went wrong. Like a scientist, you can learn from it and use it in your next experiment. Remember, this is complete flip, seeing through the negative, past the underside, and into its corollary, the positive. Another way of putting it, does getting upset provide you with more options? Sometimes it does, but in this instant, no, I suppose not. That's good. Again, see through the negative, past the underside, up to the positive. Sometimes when I'm reading these things, I really grasp it, and like inside I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that definitely, I totally understand that. And sometimes when I read this stuff, I'm like, whew. And that's okay. Sometimes you just need to like read it, sit with it, absorb it, process it, and it might not be like in that moment. Maybe it's later that evening. Maybe it's 2 days from then. But the more that we keep doing this work, the more that, again, we're expanding our horizons, opening up our minds, changing our perspectives, and seeing the world in a different way than we saw before. So maybe journal that later. Writing that in my journal of the big three. Control your perceptions, direct your actions properly, willingly accept what's outside your control. I think I might like write that on a little post-it note and post that to my mirror. It's something to think about throughout the rest of the month. And if you're interested in the article that I read on medium.com, I will link that in the description below. If there's something that you kind of want to, if you need to like read it for yourself or read into it more. And just a reminder of calming your nerves, because you need to be in a state of peace and clarity. Remember, that's the theme for January, is clarity. In order to move forward, having that clarity, so that way you can know the choices that you need to make moving forward, and maybe some choices that aren't going to benefit you, because it's really easy when we have all this chaos up in here, it's really hard to see clearly. It's like there's like dense fog and you can only see like a foot in front of you. So taking some deep breaths. And I used to suffer from panic attacks like on the daily, and I couldn't, there was like years where I felt like I wasn't even living. So tuning into yourself, calming your nerves, and you're probably like, how do I do that? For me, I take 3 deep breaths. And slowing down your breath, especially your exhales, that's going to help. Slowing down your breath with your exhales, like having a really long, slow exhale, that's going to help calm your nervous system down. And then once we can get the system to calm down, then we can start to calm down, and then we can see that clarity. Then that fog and the rain starts to like lift, and the stormy dark clouds start to lift, and you start to see like the clouds separating and the sunshine, those like beams of sunlight coming down, almost like lighting up your pathway again. I hope that didn't sound too cheesy. So I hope that there's something that you can take away from this today. Ponder throughout the rest of the day, throughout the rest of the week, rest of the month, and start to have some clarity back into your life. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next one.